Today I will be making a video and I don't even know where to start, so all I can suggest is, for myself that is, to start from the beginning. But I will mention my current situation. It might not seem like it, but I'm basically homeless. And I do not want to return to where I was because I cannot. The rug got pulled from under my feet and I haven't had enough time to sort or finish sorting certain things out, and I did not see this happening at all. And prior to that, I've had several encounters which I've had to involve the police in, unfortunately, because I almost essentially got tracked in broad daylight, and that was many weeks ago during summer. I was so traumatized after the incident, I refused to leave the house for anything at all, and after much coaxing to go outside the house by my boyfriend, I then went outside the house on a bike to a small shop, a corner shop, to pick up ice cream. And I thought I was going to be safe because I was on a bike, it was in a safe area, 5 minutes on the road. And the same man who the last time had tried to take my bike and put it in his car and tried to take me into his car and go somewhere. I didn't even know him, in broad daylight, and I was having a heat stroke. He found me in a park the first time, and I was sat down against a tree, 6 PM on a Sunday, I guess. That's when it all happened. That was a horrible incident because he wouldn't leave me alone, and eventually he walked me back home, near home. I didn't go to where home was. I made him walk me back home. Well, he didn't leave me alone at all. He wanted to take me in his car to some strange places, and I didn't want to. And so he was holding my bike, walking me back home, not on the bike. And it's not even my bike as well, which made it all the more worse. And I didn't make any reports or anything. I thought maybe it's not that bad. In retrospect, it wasn't that bad, but it was that bad after time had passed. So a week later, when I was on my bike, 5 minutes down the road, less than 5 minutes, 2 minutes, his car stopped in the middle of the road, and he stopped me. His car had tinted windows, it looked like a black SUV, new and unused even. And I was scared he was going to try and put me into his car. Instead, he tried to forcibly kiss me and kept touching my face, and I was trying to escape, really. But he parked his car right in front of me, saying he'd been looking for me for days and driving everywhere, surveying the area. And I thought, that's wrong, that's messed up. That's when it really started freaking out. And had to give some nonsense response to him, so he let me go, which he eventually did. Because I was on my bike, I was really just going to psych off, but because he stopped me in his car, how was I going to leave? He could have just followed me to a shop, so I thought he wouldn't let me go. And I said several times in each instance, I have a boyfriend, please leave me alone. I'm not sure if I could say that, but I was like, really said I'm not interested, blah blah blah. I just froze in each instant, and after a week of locking myself up, he appeared. I decided to, it might have been a bit extreme, do a police report on him, and somebody did a background search on him, and apparently he had left the country, like a week later. So the police called me back, they didn't trace. He was gone, and it felt like he was gone. But as long as he was around, like his presence, I was scared to leave the house. Like my intuition yeah, it was just a mess. So I rolled police. But what's more shocking is more recently, I thought I was done with incidences involving the police, and in this case, it seemed like they're on my side. They're completely sympathetic, and they helped me. But about 3 weeks ago, I woke up in cold sweat, pure fear, hearing yelling and screaming, and it's happened a few times, and it seems to be my boyfriend's mother, because I live in a large house, but it's not my boyfriend's house, it's his mother's house, and I pay very small amounts of rent for the time being. That's all I can afford. I've tried to help around and not often it's tidy and stuff, but it doesn't seem to help because she is a hoarder. But more disturbing is, well, I was shocked the police was involved, because I woke up, didn't know what was going on, heard yelling and screaming, and then some policewoman knocked on my door, and I thought, oh no, what's this going on? I've just woken up. Or I hadn't just woken up, I was just terrified I couldn't move. I didn't know what was going on. Apparently, my boyfriend called the police because his mother had assaulted him and flew into a rage randomly at like 9 in the morning or so. And that was like horrifying, because it sounds stupid, right? Like, I had been very productive, high energy the day before, thinking, being creative, like speed watching TED Talks that were relevant, videos on economics, things on how to start a business, or just simply getting a job, or being successful, motivational things, philosophy, tidbits, everything. I was doing everything I could, speed learning, speed watching, to sort of mentally prepare myself for getting a job, essentially, or being successful, the next step towards, like, figuring out how to network and things like that. I know it doesn't work as well anymore, but it's more like being strategic rather than networking. And my boyfriend on that day as well had been unusually productive. He spent the whole day doing artworks using Photoshop and other programs which look absolutely amazing. So I didn't want to disturb him. I left him to his business, like, just to make all these amazing things all day. And I was oddly very productive, because normally I'm not that productive. I don't have much energy. And at the end of that day, I was so exhausted. I couldn't sleep either for some strange reason, and at maybe 4 AM I did a tarot card reading, online generated, and I've done a few of those, and yes, I take them with a pinch of salt. It's best not to take them too seriously. And this one bothered me because I got a tower card in the tarot card deck, and it said unforeseen circumstances of moving home will happen. And I was like, uh-oh, I never get this card normally, and when I do, usually bad things happen, or you have to hold on tight and anticipate bad things happening, either a job loss, or like you have no more house, or things like that. That's what it implied. It just flat out said that. There was even an interpretation under the card. I didn't even have to do any thinking for this online generated tarot card reading. And I thought, that's not right. So I did it, I refreshed it again and redid the same reading to see if I'd get better results. And I still got the tower card with the same implication. I think I got the death card too. I'm still not resolved in my past and what I've done, because I've done some bad things, and I feel like I'm never going to be forgiven. So I thought it was something to do with that, rather than my housing situation. and it was 4 in the morning, so by the time I woke up at like 8 or 9, I didn't feel very well either, because I'd worked so hard on Monday, I tidied the whole house. Like, his mum is a hoarder, so like, I didn't go through her stuff, I just went through the stuff that belongs to nobody, neutral stuff, in a room that only my boyfriend and I use, and that has his stuff, some of it, like not much, but... And I think my first thought on the day of the incident when I woke up, because I hardly had slept, was, oh no, it's because I tidied, isn't it? That's why we're going to, like, bad things are going to happen. My gut was telling me bad things are going to happen. And then the police obviously got called, walked into my room, asked me questions, and I thought, well, I can't really give a witness statement. She said, you can be a witness, or like give a statement if you want, you don't have to. I said I didn't want to, because really, you know, like, the goal, when I found out later, the goal wasn't to actually get his own mother arrested. It was so she could get help, because she has early onset dementia, and the side effects is flying into rages uncontrollably over the tiniest thing, out of nowhere. And I suspect she is also an alcoholic. I'm not sure, like a functioning one anyway. She's old, and she's not very all there. I thought she would be all there, because, you know, she holds a job down, she seems always busy all the time. I thought maybe I could connect with her, but like, I can't really talk to her. I suspect she doesn't even like me, but it's not a case that she doesn't like me. I don't think she likes anybody. And she seems obsessed with money and payments and really small petty things. And that's the curse of living with a parent or somebody much older, and I don't like actually living with a parent or someone else's parent, because it puts a dampener on being able to think coherently. I've tried my best to mitigate things and be diplomatic, but there's only so much I can do. I was shocked he called the police, but it seemed like pretty bad, because if the genders had been reversed, it would have been painful. If a man, if it had been a dad punching his daughter, you never hear the end of it. But because it's his mum that hit him, I've asked him previously if his mother hit him, and yes, she had hit him, dragged his whole body away, and done things to him in the past. Even in his adult years, I guess. Like, it's not good, basically, and it seems to be getting worse. As a result, I did not feel safe. I mean, from previous arguments, I thought, that's it, I'm leaving, you know, like, I even asked him, is this normal, the yelling and screaming? It was so bad that one time his mum knocked on my door and apologized, and I was like, well, it's okay, but like, because he explained that I essentially end up traumatized. I do end up traumatized. If people raise their voices, I'm done. I can't. I'm frozen. I actually end up in so much physical pain. When people scream and shout, my knees buckle. They hurt. I end up with like knee pain, joint pain. I can't move, and I feel like I have autoimmune problems coming back just like that. It doesn't matter who's shouting, what the context is. My body tenses up. From my own past experiences of abuse, and my dad beating me, my mum also abusing me. It's just a mess. And I thought, this is so stupid. Like, I'd been so productive on Monday, so I had my boyfriend, and then on Tuesday morning, it's like a punishment for working really hard. This happened. So, and she essentially lied to the police, but of course, nobody really wanted her to go to prison. They wouldn't have put her in prison anyway, because what she did was just, it's more of a mental health issue, so the idea was that she was going to get support, but they did absolutely nothing, and the police aren't known for having very high EQs, they're not known for being smart in general, they're really dim, in my opinion. Pigs even. So, I don't hate the police, but they have caused more pain rather than help. Even when they're supposed to be on your side, they they have to deal with some crazy situations, so they probably can't deal with all this like family nonsense and smaller cases. But it's sometimes that's a thing though, like a normal family situation can cross over into a far more extreme situation. Like every time there was shouting involved, I was scared that his mum was going to assault him anyway, and I was scared. Like he used to say, "Oh, you seem so scared of my mum," and I said, "I'm not scared of her. I just don't want to deal with her crap. So I don't see why I have to socialize with her." And in fact, it's so tense when she comes back from work sometimes. You can't function. There's like, especially if you can pick up on energies or intuitively things. Like, I'm not okay if other people aren't okay in a building, and all I'm trying to do is achieve a state of homeostasis with myself and the people around me, and if that cannot be maintained, then I'm out of there. I'm done. So basically we went to the emergency housing thing. I've already been to such things like that before, and he had a police report, a domestic abuse case, essentially, very solid foundation. Thought, right, he should be getting help straight away. He's had previous mental health issues, because priority is given to certain people, whether they're disabled or formerly disabled, or domestic abuse case. But because it's a case of his mum and not his dad, and because he's a man, there's like no support for men if their mothers or women abuse them. There's none whatsoever. I mean, there's support lines, but when it comes to actual emergency housing or like any support, there's none whatsoever. I've done everything I could, and I've told him over and over again, I said, now you know how I feel, because I went through the homeless housing system, and some people have lied before on their computers, the advisors, and said, she does not look like she requires any support whatsoever and appears to be in good health, which is utter lies, because I was homeless. I've spent £200 on bus fares going down every single day to the emergency housing thing for 2-3 weeks, I don't know. And they wouldn't help me. I asked to talk to manager, they wouldn't help me. They were offering me to go to a homeless shelter where mostly men would be, probably alcoholic men. And that scared me, because I thought, like, I don't want to be harassed or assaulted. Like, I'm autistic, I'm naive, basically. Like, I'm friendly, but my friendliness is seen as a weakness. I've been told far too many times I'm too nice. We went to another emergency housing place in another town, which was far better, and the woman said, unfortunately, we had some personnel supposed to help us, and she said, unfortunately, we're too nice. We're too nice, as a result, we're not going to get help. That's what she meant, I guess. And it's got to the point where I'm thinking of living in a tent, because I don't want to live with his mother. Like, it probably will have calmed down, but what happened is when she was discharged, well, for one, she lied, but what to expect? Like, even if she told the truth, she wouldn't have been arrested, but she was probably scared, and like, it's more of a mental health issue. Like, and even the police who reported it realized this. But the person who accompanied her to discharge her was essentially a sociopath. It was so bad, my boyfriend had to record her, not her, the policeman, because he was goading him into essentially getting into a fight with him, because he believed, from his perspective, she was in the right and that he was a tyrant for having called the police in the first place, and he was goading him, saying things like, she's just a little old lady. Like, if you think this frail old lady is that dangerous, then, like, you've got issues, mate. Like, he was really nasty. And every time I tried to intervene and say, I think what Ross meant is blah 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 blah, and it didn't go very well, because he kept interrupting me, and when he finally let me talk, he said, "I think you are implying you're leaving now, miss. You're leaving right now?" And he was very threatening in telling us to leave, essentially. If you feel so threatened, then leave. He was addressing mostly my boyfriend, not me. I was basically invisible, and I was trying to say, look, I understand everyone's perspective, like, all I want is just a solution. But he just cut me off. He just would not let me talk. And he was so like, he was a pig. Like, he was actually, like, he was one of the, you know, when you talk about good cops and bad cops, he was a bad cop. He was just bad through and through. He symbolized I got personally triggered because, like, if I had to deal with somebody like that, for instance, if I'd called the police on either of my parents, I feel like he's the kind of person that would have goaded me to, because he was essentially implying that mothers, you know, she's your mother, you know, like, she's your family, like, how, you know, how can you do this kind of stuff? Basically, guilt-tripping him, invalidating him. It does look ridiculous, I know, because, like, he was going to win the case, you know. It's wrong. The injustice is so wrong. I'm thinking of making a video on a corrupt police system. That's not the first time I thought about that. There was something very eerie about it all. There's also something wrong with the overall energy where I'm living in that area, because there had been 2 suicides. One in my boyfriend's family, like a friend of the family had a daughter around the same age as him, or younger. She killed herself. They found her in a room or something. She hung herself. And a week prior to that, somebody threw themselves on the train tracks, which is why one time there was a massive black helicopter above our house, because there's a train track not so far away. And each incident, on the day I presume the person committed suicide, whether this friend of the family or this other person who threw themselves on the train tracks, every single time, just before an official incident was noted, I felt extremely suicidal. Extremely suicidal, came out of nowhere. And I thought, well, how much sensitive can I be? And since using all my money savings, I have nothing left. I have absolutely nothing. I can't get any help. I'm stuck. I've done this to help him as well as myself. Found the cheapest, well, nearest, I guess you could say it's like a bed and breakfast. In a few days' time, I have no choice. We have no choice but to go back to his mother's place. But I don't want to go back there. I've said to him I'm going to sleep in a tent if I have to, and I'm going to get a job. Or if I do go back, I can't talk to her. It's like a brick wall. Like, it'll probably go back to normal, but it'll be extremely awkward. I'm basically stuck in the middle because I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm paying for someone else's, other people's mess, essentially. Maybe I have done something wrong, because karmically speaking, maybe I deserve all these bad things to happen to me. Because of the mistake I made, I betrayed a friend, a very close, basically my best friend, who is my ex-boyfriend. And I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I refuse to get in contact with my family because they have refused to help me. They've refused to let me sleep on their floor more than once. They refuse to let me sleep on their floor even if offering to pay rent and cleaning and tidying and cooking for them and helping them with organisation, because my entire family are hoarders as well. And that was a long time ago, and my own mother once suggested to me many years ago when I was homeless at 21. She was smiling as well, which made it all the more worse. Like, she was enjoying my pain. It was like a form of sadism. She smiled and said, well, you know, if you ever want to get married, and you need 2 witnesses, just ask 2 homeless guys on the street, because by law, anybody can be a witness. You can only get married if you have 2 witnesses, which is true. You can't get married if you don't have anybody to be there as a witness. And I thought, what is this, a Vegas wedding, you know? Like, what, is that what I'm going to do? What, because I'm homeless and my mum is thoroughly enjoying this when I was 21 years old? She also suggested I become an escort. I was raised as a strict Christian. Escort is code word for essentially a prostitute. And you don't want to know what escorts, so-called escorts, who go, for instance, to Dubai, because they have a lot of money there, they are asked to do very disgusting acts, very dehumanizing acts. That's far worse than prostitution itself. Then again, my mother's hacked into my email account before. I don't know how she did it. I must have been logged in or something when I was actually on holiday in Dubai at 19. It was the first time I got on a plane. I left Europe, and it was amazing. I'd never seen such big skyscrapers and everything. It was all new back then. Now it's not as shiny anymore, Dubai, but I suspect she was looking for dirt on me when she logged into my email, was trying to find evidence that I'm basically some prostitute or escort. That was the theory my, I think, ex-boyfriend came up with. So, yeah, I'm sick and tired of the homelessness induced by my parents, and it seems almost indirectly induced by my boyfriend's situation, because he's told me it's not the first time he's been homeless. He's spent weeks being homeless in London, and I don't want to do that. It's not very pleasant. Like scavenging for things. How's that going to work? I really don't know. I don't know if I have my tent. I bought a tent. It's probably not going to be very comfortable. I don't have a sleeping bag, so I'm probably going to have to go to some emergency shelter place where homeless people go. Apparently they offer free sleeping bags, free blankets, and a free tent, which might be better. I don't have any money to buy anything at all right now. I cannot get a loan out at all. I don't want to get a loan out at all. I don't want to borrow money either from people, because like, even if I could pay somebody back, it's really not, like, it just doesn't look good, you know? I'm tired of always being the person in victim mode. I'm tired that I can't help people, and I'm always the one who needs help. Like, I feel like I need to help other people. Instead, all I'm doing is helping myself continuously, and that's it. It's like nothing ever improves. It just sucks. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be able to upload this video. It's really hard as it is making a video. I don't know where I'm going to put all my stuff. I promised my best friend that I would send photos over of travels. I even thought of writing a letter and things like that. But how am I supposed to do that if I don't have a place to live and I have no address yet? I really don't know what to do. Like, it's so bad that one time my boyfriend said that he suggested, I guess, that if I died, probably somebody in my family, they wouldn't attend my funeral, and I said, yeah, that's what I felt. Like, I feel like if I died, they wouldn't attend my funeral, and if they did, they would just play the whole, like, good parents thing, like, oh, we cared about her so much, and she had so many aspirations and potential, and like, we did everything we could to help her, but she was just a difficult child, she never listened, but we miss her very deeply, and blah blah blah. cue sobbing and all that kind of stuff. Because that's what my parents have said multiple times. They used to say, after everything we've done for you, after everything we've done for you, all the time. Like, I don't care in the end if they could not help me financially. I just wanted support. I just wanted them to be on my side, not give me suggestions to turn myself into prostitution. When I was very naive, because when I was 21 years old, I was more like the mental age of an 18, 19-year-old. I've always been like that. I'm a few years emotionally behind. Supposedly I've been diagnosed. I'm the same emotional age as my younger brother, who's 4 years younger than me, essentially. That's it, because I had nobody else. I had no one to relate to at the time when I was growing up, so I latched onto anybody that made sense. And that was my brother. Unfortunately, I can't get any support from anybody. I'm sorry if this video is quite rambly. On the plus side, it's not really a plus side, I had a nervous breakdown, an ambulance got called, then it's only because an ambulance got called I actually finally got help at a medical centre, because I told them about the situation. I had a meltdown, I guess you could say, because I tried to work on my CV 6 hours straight, and then I crashed and burned, like, so badly. I felt like fainting and dying, and I couldn't breathe properly. I actually thought I had a physical problem. Turned out it was more a mental problem. I did not call the ambulance force because I thought it was a bit excessive, and I felt like I was wasting their resources. But it did help in the end, because the GP, the doctor, finally took me seriously, and I got given a short course of, like, I guess anti-anxiety and depressants. I think it's called sertraline, which is one of the names. I think the other name for it is Zoloft. And apart from the physical side effects, I think for the first time in years, I actually feel level-headed. Like, if something that normally would make me feel extremely emotional, I actually feel less emotional, not like numb, but I feel like I'm able to deal with it. And it made me realize I've probably had chronically low levels of serotonin and dopamine most of my life, and if I do get a peak of dopamine, it's just like once a blue moon, but that's like hyperactivity, then I crash. Like, I can't really actually feel good most of the time. Like, crying constantly is not good. Also, never having any good suggestions, never being able to see the silver lining. I've been able to talk myself into an existential crisis probably from age 8. So I actually think that if you're on the spectrum, or if you suffer even the slightest dips in depression, but you're not really sure if you have depression, I actually recommend you try this antidepressant, because on lower doses, if it's too high, you can always have lower doses, it actually helps you see things clearer. I thought it would create more brain fog. Some medication does do that, so I'd recommend that, because for the first time ever in probably what feels like a lifetime, I've been able to get up and see things objectively, but unfortunately I'm in the shit in terms of my situation. So it's such a shame. If it weren't for any intervention, I don't think I would have been taken seriously. I've just always been sort of fobbed off by the medical people and the housing people. So going through the whole system again, for me, but not really for me, is messed up, because it's just re-traumatizing me, and I'm unable to come up with solutions, and I can't help my boyfriend, and I especially cannot help myself right now, because, well, now that I can see clearly, I still don't know what to do. Like, the magic pills aren't making me come up with new solutions. all it's made me realise is I actually don't care as much. I feel actually quite relaxed and laid back. I don't have social anxiety, meaning if I go out, I'm not feeling uncomfortable in my skin. I'm not worried about stuttering or acting a bit funny with my body language, because most of my problems and my odd behaviours are caused by anxiety, I suspect. But also, I've just naturally been depressive since forever. I should have been on this stuff when I was 10 years old. It's probably not good for a 10-year-old, but it works almost like, I guess, medication for somebody with ADHD. I can actually, for the first time ever, think of ideas without spiraling into an existential or suicidal ideation, because thinking about euthanasia and going to Belgium every 2 minutes to kill myself is not a good idea, and even if I did do that, it would take me years. So, and it costs money. I cannot even afford to do that. So, I guess that's a positive thing. So if you have, if you're on the spectrum, have depression or anxiety, or even you're a high-functioning depressed person, I don't know, like if you have other underlying issues like bipolar and all that, be wary, because again, I'm not a doctor. Anything I say in this video is just really non-medical advice. I'm only talking from experience right now. It's crazy because I must have had abnormally to zero levels of serotonin and dopamine, which is probably why the meltdowns occur occasionally. They usually come before, or they come after, like a sort of work crisis where I overwork myself and then I crash. So I've destroyed my health before, and I've suffered from adrenal burnout from overwork and bullying. I don't know what it is, but what is it with bullying? For no reason, like I just do my job, mind my own business, and I get bullied. And it is traumatizing going back into a job if you're just going to be bullied. My boyfriend also has the same problem, in that being bullied relentlessly in a job is not helpful. But it just makes me and my boyfriend sound like we both got victim complexes. So, which I don't think we have. I've learned hopelessness occasionally, but I've tried so hard to actually crawl out of essentially hell, only to find myself back in hell again. So I really need help. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I mean, a donation would be great, but I'm not going to do e-begging or anything like that. I don't know. Like, basically, come Friday, I will have to go back to his mum's house with no money to even pay her rent, because I've used the money, my savings, to survive here for the last 3 weeks. It's not sustainable. I can't get any government help. I can't get any kind of help because I don't tick the boxes. I'm not an extreme case. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not pregnant. I refuse to become an alcoholic or a drug addict or get pregnant just to do that. That's not going to help anybody, and that's ruining. It's ruining your future self's reality, and it's ruining this hypothetical child's reality. That's just wrong. I was even thinking, like I've realized because of my situation so precarious, if come 30 years old I'm still struggling, or even 35 years old, I don't know, by then I might not have to worry. I'm thinking of actually getting my, I don't know, if for women you call it having your tubes tied, but I don't want to have kids because I think it's cruel to raise somebody if you cannot afford to take care of them. And even if I could afford to take care of the kids, does my mental health allow it? Probably not. We have too many people on this planet. My childhood would look like a nursery. I've never been able to just be a kid without being surrounded by baby crap everywhere. And I felt like a little parent as a kid, so I mean, I hope I become more and more responsible as I age. I think I'm reasonably responsible. But if anybody else was in my situation, what the hell would I have done? For one, like most people would have panicked, maybe broken up with their boyfriend, I don't know, or they would have got in debt, or they would maybe gone into prostitution at this point. I don't want to do any of those things. It's kind of hard. It's weird, right? Before the rug got pulled beneath my feet, I was working on towards getting a job. How am I supposed to do that on very limited time? And no resources, no internet even. Trying to sort out anything has been immensely hard. It's like the whole universe is saying, give up, just be a hobo, live in a tent, don't even bother trying. Why do you even try to have dreams? The dreams of having the same level of existence like other people. Like, who do you think you are? It's ridiculous. The universe should not be acting like this. And all the new age stuff aside, I'm pissed. I was like, it's all annoying. I am pissed off. Like, this is not, like, it's not right. And I feel like a terrible person as well, because of a mistake I did, and I feel like I'm karmically paying for that. But I don't know if it works that immediately, karma. So maybe this is my punishment for having done bad things. And if so, then so be it. Because I accept I made a mistake. I'm not going to talk about that mistake on this video. But forgiving myself, I don't know if I can ever forgive myself, because I essentially ruined a person's life for my own decision. Or I've ruined my own life in the end. Like, I ruined something good with my own behavior that got increasingly worse over years. I don't know what's wrong with me, but yeah, like I've been trying to get mental health therapy stuff for about a whole year, more than once, still nothing. It's probably going to be a whole year at least before I get help, because I don't have any private health care. I'm still waiting, nobody's helping, so nobody seems really concerned that I'm obviously a dire straits case. Like I'm a pretty bad case, as in I need help. It's obvious I need help. People have said that. Nobody is providing that support. And now I don't even have an address to live at, nor internet or anything, so I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like I've had my dreams crushed yet again. I've had the rug pulled beneath my feet yet again. And the hopes of me even getting a crappy job are starting to fade, in that if I cannot even get a crappy job, then what's going to happen to me? It's not the first time I've been discriminated against as well, because of my race, I suspect, or somewhat. Like, my name on my CV has made things harder, I suspect. It's not the main thing, but people do throw CVs away if they find their name's a bit too foreign sounding, and my CV has been found in a bin for having been filled out incorrectly, which it was not. And a long time ago, at the time, my boyfriend who worked in the shop noticed that my CV had been put in a bin for being filled out incorrectly. And he looked green when he said it to me. I think he realised that everybody he worked with, or that woman in that case, was essentially racist. I didn't get the job in the end. Like, they just didn't care. They needed staff, but they didn't want me. And it was such an easy job. A teenager could have done it. They wouldn't even let me. So, well, enough pathological victim lifestyle, because I'm sure society and the internet will probably be saying, hey, stop playing the victim, get a job. Stop being a crazy homeless person. It's not that simple. It really isn't. I'm actually tired of it. I can't even drive, because if I could drive, I would have saved money, bought a car, and lived out of my car or something by now. And I can't even do that. Because I asked for driving lessons and things like that from my parents, and they just ignored me, really. And I asked and asked and asked. Because I want to set up my future so I'd be able-bodied in my 20s, not incapacitated. I feel like I've not been helped to deal with the real world. I've had to figure out everything by myself, and through a lot of help from friends. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm not incapable, but there's so many loopholes, or so much red tape, I mean, when it comes to mental health, or the police, or anything, or any infrastructure. Yeah, I think I should stop now, because I'm just rambling. Who's gonna watch this crap? I don't know. Probably not me, even.